In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at the current conditions and diving into that upcoming modeled guidance because we have so much to go over, including back-to-back major snowstorms, potential for blizzard conditions in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic as those massive nor'easters take place in those areas. We still have to track that though because the models have been very shaky on their guidance of that. I would hate to be trying to make a forecast for what's going to be happening in the upcoming pattern because they have been jumping all over the place, so it's going to be really hard to nail that down for some folks. Now, as we could see, taking a look at these current conditions, we have showery activity across a lot of the west here, both in the form of snowfall in the blue and rainfall there in the green. We definitely are going to be seeing those from time to time for these areas, and even the Sierra Nevadas there. We can see there's some heavier snowfall taking place in those areas. Now, as we just scan our attention eastward for the upper Midwest, we can see that there's also a pocket of a weaker storm here in general, bringing some snowfall near the Twin Cities and especially west of those areas. And then also some rainfall east of those areas and south of those areas. And then we can see some activity happening here underneath here. That is going to be taking place primarily for Texas into Oklahoma, Arkansas, and then the deeper south here, with some showers and thunderstorms for a lot of these areas. And as we just zoom into these different spots here, we could see that there is this activity happening here across the Sierra Nevadas. Again, heavier snowfall in these areas. And even as we work our way through southern Idaho and northern Utah here, we could see some heavier snowfall happening in these pockets as well. And then again, near the Twin Cities, we do have that mixing going on, snowfall to the west of these areas. So we see mixing in there. Mostly looks like snowfall the closer to the low you get. And then obviously, as we work our way eastward, this looks to be entirely rainfall there. As we work our way further south than these areas, we can see these heavier pockets of precipitation. We even have a special weather statement for these areas, which is kind of like a bad thunderstorm, but not severe yet. For these areas south of Seymour there in Texas. Now we can see that north and east of Fort Worth there, Arlington and Dallas, we have a pocket of heavier showers and thunderstorms taking place near Paris, Texas. And then we can see all the way eastward towards Little Rock there in Arkansas. These showers are extending. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is just move on and take a look at the modeled guidance. We do see that we get a pretty major storm happening here eventually. Some snowfall in kind of your north central United States is what I would call it. The Dakotas here, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota as well there. And then we can see underneath we do have some thunderstorm activity, it appears, here for states like Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi. So some more activity happening underneath there. Doesn't look to be major whatsoever though. We do actually get very heavy snowfall though in a swath, and I'll just draw that swath, but so far it looks something like this. So now we're seeing kind of the upper Midwest, Great Lakes and Ohio Valley getting in on some of this. And then what we see happen is this low now develops a lot closer to the coast than we saw on a few model runs ago here just yesterday. We could see some heavier snowfall happening here for eastern Pennsylvania, northern New Jersey, areas like that. But that does slip off the coast, really. It doesn't come back in like we've expected to potentially happen. Now, snowstorm number 2 has trended a little bit further westward as well. 988 millibar low pressure center there over New Jersey. And we see very heavy snowfall again for the Northeast here happening. Actually, a lot heavier in this case than in the previous storms. And then I want to see if we get anything else. It does appear like at the very end of this model run, we do get another storm system moving through. And this one could potentially do something similar to what we saw from storm number 1. We need to watch this closely. There is ample amounts of cold air, so snowfall in these areas can't be ruled out. We can even see another storm moving onshore to the west, indicating that we're going to start to see things really getting active again as we reach mid to late March. So certainly we are in a quieter period right now. It does, however, appear like things are going to get more active. Now, as we take a look at that total precipitation, again, I love showing this because we get the full story here. We have some storms moving through the northwest, even the southwest here. And this leads towards above average amounts of precipitation for pretty much all of these areas here. We see that things really kind of get X'd out here over this region as these storms move over. They kind of weaken over these drier climates. Also, the very high mountain tops of the Rocky Mountains here can break up storms. So that is some contributing factors to that we're seeing. But we do see storms redevelop here and really lead towards a couple of interesting storm tracks, even getting some closer to the coast here. So we can tell that these areas in the east in general are getting above average amounts of precipitation, as they pretty much have all year long. They're going to continue to see this activity, especially after the next 5 days are over, about 10th and beyond. We'll especially be looking at that. Now, the total snowfall here, we can see that there is a regular amount expected here for the Rockies, Cascades, Sierra Nevadas. But once we take a look at these upper Midwest regions into the Great Lakes, we see especially interesting amounts here, 10 to 20 inches here for a lot of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio in here as well. And then as we take a look at the Northeast, which I'll actually zoom into here, we can tell that we do expect to see quite a bit in these areas. We can see that the coastal areas look to get some warmer air as these lows track, or especially the second one track very close to the coast here, causing mixing to happen in this corridor here. So this is the pocket where we're really in that big question mark phase of if you will see snowfall or rainfall or a little bit of both. But these areas just to the west and onshore of this black blob I just drew look to be all snow during all the upcoming storms, basically. So the interior regions of the mid-Atlantic and northeast, where you can see we can get up to 2 feet, maybe even pushing on 3 feet for some of these mountains. So we see that areas in the Adirondacks approach 3 feet, also the Catskills there. Then we can see the Green Mountains, the White Mountains as well, getting some of that. I'm underlining all these mountain ranges. So Catskills here, Adirondacks, Green Mountains, and then White Mountains, all expecting 2 to 3 feet potentially. So certainly a very, very snowy upcoming pattern for all of those folks there. Now let's take a look at that GFS model here, and I want to see if we get any agreement here. Storm number 1, it looks like we finally have agreement in a less snowy direction. So we get heavy snow to start for Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York City, areas like that. But that does slip off the coast. Now we get storm number 2, where this model says it'll be pretty major, but nothing like what the European model is showing. And really, it's a lot further northward here. As you can see, we don't get a lot of Pennsylvania, New York, New Jersey, Maryland like that. We're mostly exclusive here for New England on the GFS model. I want to continue this on, though, because we do get more range on this GFS model. And as we can see, storm number 3 ends up being a little bit of a gradient one. And what I mean by that is we have rain, mixed, and then snow further inland, so it's a little bit more flat with those precipitation types. We get a bit quieter here as we approach into late March, so pretty interesting perspective here from the GFS. There is some storminess in these areas, but look, a really, really strong high pressure system is here, and it doesn't look like anything wants to really move onshore these areas. So we're seeing that storm track basically get shut down there. Very, very interesting stuff. Now, the temperature pattern that is upcoming, I just want to track this because we saw far below normal temperatures expected just a few days ago. And for a brief period here around the 14th, that still appears to be possible here on this European ensemble model. As you can see, about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. But after this point, it doesn't seem as far below normal as we were expecting. And really, once we're reaching towards the 25th, it looks like the core of that cold returns from the east back to the west, where it has been for most of the winter, which I seem to think is a pretty realistic scenario. I buy this, and I really feel like this is the most likely outcome, guys. So that is what we're looking at here, but we are going to track it every single day. As we've noted, these models do have some issues, so we're going to have to just continue to track these things every single day. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe because we do upload daily. Also, be sure to hit that bell icon for daily notifications so you never miss an upload. Like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.